Our gospel today has given us a surprising image of Jesus. We know that Jesus is meek, humble, merciful, and compassionate. But in our gospel today, he went into a very sick and he threw away the table and maybe he shouted. He threw those people inside the temple. Another and new surprising image of Jesus. But what was the reason why Jesus was portrayed or Jesus did this in our gospel? Because of too much commercialism during those times. So you see, in our society today, in Macau, in China, or even in Hong Kong, or even in the Philippines, or around the world, commercialism is not that new. Even during the first century, even during the time of Jesus, there was already too much commercialism. And commercialism even affected inside, or was brought even inside the temple. Because the people are too lazy, even during those times. When they have to offer, they would not bring their own produce. They would not bring their own lamb, their beautiful animals, or even their harvest. They have to buy inside the temple. Because inside the temple, everything is instant. You can buy your offering so that you can offer. Isn't it meaningful when we have to go to the temple and offer our own produce? For example, the beautiful animal that we have raised. It is much more meaningful. And much more surprising is the presence of the money changers. What about the money changers? We have to recall that the Jews are rabid nationalists. Now, they would not want that the things about the other country would affect them. So they were under the influence of the Roman government. And the monetary system that they use are the coins or the money of the Romans. Inside the temple, they would not welcome the money of the Romans. So they have their own currency inside the temple. The currency is the shekel. So there are money changers. So if you will be going to the temple and you will be worshiping, you should not offer the money of the Romans. Because that is the money of the executioners, the money of the superpower that we don't want to be in our country. So you have to exchange it with another money which is called shekel. So we have money changers even inside the temple. So this is the scenario that Jesus himself was surprised when he entered the temple. Very noisy, everything is bargaining for the animals, everybody is going to the money changer so that they can exchange their money from the Roman monetary coins to the shekel. So they were very noisy. But it is inside the temple. So after all, the attitude of Jesus was understandable because he said, "This is the house of my Father, and you are turning it into a marketplace." You know, my dear brothers and sisters, if Jesus had the chance to visit or to come for a surprise visit to our Catholic churches every Sunday, he would have done the same. And he might be bringing an AK-47 or an Armalite so that he can shoot at us all. Because we are very much guilty, the same as the guilt of the people in the first century. We are turning the church into a marketplace. We are not in proper disposition when we worship. We should understand that the church, this church, or every Catholic church, is not a public place where we have the right to wear what we want to wear, or to behave what we want to behave, or to go there what time we want to go. We should be in the proper disposition. So allow me to recall again at least 3 indicators of correct disposition, so that if Jesus would come for a surprise visit, He would smile to all of us. Smile of approval because we come not to show our new clothes, not to disrespect Him, but we come to worship Him with our heart, with our soul, and with our body. Going to church is not just fulfilling an obligation. We always say, I have to go to church today because it's Sunday. That is why, if that is what in our mind, then we go to church bringing ourselves, our own fashion without thinking, I have to go there. There are other people there. I have to respect them also. I have to worship with my heart and my soul. So I have at least to join the choir in singing. I will not be looking around. I will not be looking at the ceiling. I have to reflect on the homily of the priest. I have to put myself in the gospel so that after the Mass, I will be bringing Jesus in my home. And the following day, I will be bringing Him in my office. So there are at least 3 indicators of correct disposition. Number 1, I have mentioned it already, the attire. And some people may retort that the attire shouldn't matter. What is important is our prayer. Well, we ask, when going out for a date or meeting with a special person, the foremost consideration is our presence. But why do we project our best appearance? Or maybe going to the office. When we go to the office, the paramount is the performance of the work. But why do the office workers wear presentable attire? Brothers and sisters, the person, the one that we meet every Sunday, is not the manager of the office, is not our date on a Sunday. He is God. He is God, the King of Kings. And we set an appointment with that God every Sunday. And it is but at least a requirement for us to present ourselves more meaningfully. We should wear meaningful attire. Now, with simplicity, and of course, I am not telling you that you have to wear a fashionable attire and there will be a fashion show inside the church. At least for the ladies, please cover the parts of your body which should be covered. Do not show your back to the other churchgoers, or even your legs, if it is not supposed to be shown. Especially if your legs are already decomposing. It appears as if you are already dead. My dear brothers and sisters, my dear sisters, I am not insulting you. I am just reminding you that even though you have beautiful legs, maybe, you have beautiful appearance, you have beautiful body, inside the church, cover your body. Go there so that you will not distract others. I am not saying this to the female, to the women, to the ladies, also the men. We are guilty of this. So this is one, the attire. We go to church, at least we wear not the fashionable attire. I am not telling you that every Sunday you have to buy new attire. We go to church, it will be simplicity, but presentable attire before the Lord. Next is respect for others. We should be on time. We Filipinos, including myself, we are not so much conscious about time. That is why sometimes we are always late on a Sunday Mass. We know that it is 5. We go there at 5:15, 5:30. Now, we have manner of keeping the time here in our cathedral. The doors are closed when it is already starting. That is why you have to wait for the next Mass. And some of you had been complaining about this. Oh, I am busy. I have to attend to my children. I have to still go there somewhere. Our Sunday Mass is the best time that we can give to the Lord. Do not make the time only the last time that you can give. When we want to worship God with all our heart, we anticipate the time that we want to go to the church. For us, it's the best time that we set an appointment with the Lord. That's why we should always be early. Now, in keeping this discipline inside the church, inside a cathedral, actually, you are not being persecuted. We are helping you to form virtue. That is, the virtue of being on time. Well, somebody told me, Father, if that is the case, then the church is not anymore compassionate and merciful. Pope Francis is telling us that we should be merciful and compassionate. You should not use that words of Pope Francis, being merciful, because being merciful and compassionate is far from condoning you of being late. You will always be late, even if the church will always be compassionate and merciful. What is important for us is cultivate that attitude of being on time, because it is the Lord whom we meet, whom we embrace, whom we receive every Sunday. So we have two already. The attire, our attire should at least be presentable, and number two, being on time and respect for others. And finally, our attitude. In shopping, when we go shopping, we see something we like. We pay for it, and we get it. If we don't see anything interesting, we leave the place and shop somewhere else. This, my dear brothers and sisters, may also be our behavior inside the church. We pray and make sacrifice in payment for something we like to get from God. We say, Lord, I want this favor. I expect to get it soon after the Mass. Still others may be searching for an entertainment and amusing homily, expecting priests to act like comedians. They are looking at the altar, the decoration of the altar, the beautiful choir, and if they are not satisfied with the choir, they would say, oh, we have to change that choir for a better one. And if we find any of this, we leave the church and we don't want to worship anymore. There is one churchgoer who said, some go to church to be entertained. Some go to church to be amused. Some go to church to look on others. But the wise go to church to worship God. I believe all of us are wise. And if we are not wise, we ask for the grace so that we will become wise. So that when we enter the church, we worship God, God will be smiling from heaven. Because we give Him our all, our attention, our heart, our spirit, and our entire body, giving it all to God. That is the spirit of worship. Not only your presence, because if you will be there and looking at the ceiling, looking at the lights, or looking at the clothes of others, or looking at the girls of the legs of the ladies, you are not worshiping God. Let us pray, brothers and sisters, that we may maintain this attitude, the right attitude of going to church. Otherwise, we had been insulting, and we will continue to insult the Lord every time we go to church. Let us pray for that grace, that every Sunday we give to God what is due to God in a spirit of justice. And that is the worship, the praise, the glory. Our choir is helping us very much to give that praise, glory, and worship before God. And so, let us pray fervently that during this Lenten season, we may change our attitude by wearing presentable clothes, respecting others, being on time, and also the right disposition of going to church. Please all stand as we profess our faith.